Hello, so this is a recording of a Zoom class that I am delivering. So if I start talking to people, if you're watching this on YouTube, I start talking to people, I'm not going mad, just chatting to my participants. So today we're going to focus on, as usual, the immune system, the digestion, just protection from any infection, from any disease, from any illness. So I'm going to draw a little bit of inspiration from my favourite book, from Swami Satyananda Saraswati of the Bihar School of Yoga. And this book is Asana Pranayama Mudra Bandha, and there's the Pawanmuktasana sequences. There's 3 series of Pawanmuktasana, which is really just about releasing energy blockages. And the series that we're going to be focusing on today is the digestive and abdominal group. So we're just going to go through that in exact order from the book. I'm just picking bits of it and weaving it into a class. And the Kriyas from Dr B P Pillai of the Yogic. He's the director of the Institute of Yogic Culture in Trivandrum. I got that right. And the Kriyas, again, there's 3 series of Kriyas. And I'm going to focus on the Tummy Kriyas today. Again, just changing up the order a little bit, maybe changing the way we do things. Just a bit. The dogs, as you can see, are joining in. No fighting, no fighting. Come on, no fighting. Sorry, oops. Sorry, guys. So we'll just begin cross-legged. So you can do this on a chair. If you can't do cross-legged, if you don't want to, or bad knees or something, you can have your legs straight out. Just get yourself in a comfortable position where you feel nice and grounded on the sit bones. So as I say, that could be on a chair. And if you are sitting cross-legged, just open up the hips, stretch out the inner thighs, and just come forward. As we exhale, and we'll go side to side. So as you come to the side, inhale, push the thigh, get a kiss from the dog, and stretch. And as you come over, you feel a stretch right around here. Exhale back to the center. So we're doing semicircles, down and out to the side. Inhale to the side. Exhale to the center. And just really feel that connection with the movement, with the breath. So don't speed up your breath to match the movement. Slow the movement down to match the breath. Then you can start pushing it in and getting that stretch. Exhale forward. Just feeling the hips opening up a little bit now. Just really to make it comfortable when we're doing our seated work. Exhale. Sink right back onto the sit bones. Take your hand down. Just complete that stretch. High five. Hello. And it's so demanding. It's so demanding. Sink right back onto the sit bones. Oh, I know this is so boring for you, Harry, isn't it? Come on. And just release. So now you've kind of opened up a bit. We're going to just start going round in full circles like a hula hoop. So there's a bit of a bend in the spine, a bend to the side. Scoop the belly in, pull the abdominal wall back into the spine as you exhale, and come back from your left side to your right side. So we're going anti-clockwise. And then a side stretch. And then as you come forward, inhale, really release everything forward and down. And just feel like giving a good old massage to your internal organs. Just let the shoulders be. Try not to move your jaw in unison. It's quite difficult. Again, remember that the movement slows down to meet the pace of the breath. Really pull the belly in and feel that massaging all the internal organs and the guts. Let's go around a couple times more. Really just releasing everything as you come forward. Scoop the belly in, exhale, and we're going to switch directions. So now we're going anti-clockwise, so we're going clockwise now. So as you come back, scoop the belly in, go right to left. Yeah, I see you. I see you. This is Harry Styles. And just let the neck go. It doesn't need to hyperextend up and down. Just let it be a continuation of the spine, moving naturally, flowing. Scoop right in. Let's go down once more. So this is part of the Agni Sara. Tummy Kriyas are Agni Sara and Thangakara. Agni is the digestive fire, the fire element. And so the Agni Sara is stimulating the digestive fire. And there's 3 parts to Agni Sara. This is Agni Sara 2, the second one. So I'm changing the order a little bit for what just feels more natural today. So the hula hoops is Agni Sara part 3. And we're going to go on to Tarangaka, which means that which makes waves. So from this kind of pulling in, see if you can kind of just translate that into this rippling back and forward. So instead of moving in the transverse plane, we're moving in this, I suppose that's the sagittal plane, moving like a sort of belly dancing camel. So I'll turn to the side to demonstrate this. So what we're doing is, to break it down and make it easy, just think about the upper part of the abdomen and the lower part of the abdomen separated by the belly button. And I'm going to take my hands out, but what we're doing is we're exhaling and pulling the upper belly in. Yeah, okay. Continue the exhale as you pull the lower belly in. Then as you start to inhale, the upper belly comes out, continuing. So it's always leading with the upper part of the belly. Exhale, exhale, inhale, inhale. Exhale, exhale, inhale, inhale. And as you get familiar with that movement, it stops being a discrete movement and maybe starts to become more of a nice wave-like ripple, yeah? So everything's just flowing, okay? following on from this quite naturally is Aganasara part 2, which is pulling the upper belly in, pulling the lower belly in as you exhale. Exhale, fully pull the whole belly and the sides of the belly, the bottom, the top, the whole belly right in on the exhale. Lean forward a bit so you can either rest on your hands or rest your hands, so you rest on your knees or rest your hands a little bit forward on the mat. And then as you inhale, you're inhaling and letting everything come in really quickly with a sniff, optionally. But as you inhale, you're just flopping everything forward and down. And that's kind of giving that little bit, almost a gentle slap to the internal organs again. Okay, so exhale, upper belly, exhale, lower belly. Sniff and let go. And again, exhale in. And you can stop and take a couple of breaths. This is quite intense. You know, if you need to take a couple of breaths in between rounds, that's absolutely fine. Do maybe 3 to start with, maybe 5 at the most, and then you can build up to about 10. And release. A few breaths, just shake out your legs. Give your legs a little break. If you're sitting cross-legged, just want to just roll your legs through your knees. That was Aganasara part 2. And now we'll do Aganasara part 1. So one backwards really. So when you're ready, actually I'll stay at the side actually. Maybe cross your legs the opposite way, so whichever leg is on top or in front, just swap it over, just to keep everything nice and balanced. And you don't need to sit like this, just whatever. And Aganasara 1, we're just really isolating the upper part of the belly. So this part of the belly is the fire element. So it's the stomach, the spleen, the small intestines, yeah, I see you, which is the fire element, which is acid. The acid is the fire, which cooks. So we cook, our food gets cooked in here, the acid in our belly. And then the bottom part is the air element, yeah, where we are eliminating anything that moves in or out of the system. That's the air element, that transition. So we're just isolating the upper belly. I'm just going to breathe out, maybe count to 4 and pull the upper belly in. And as you inhale, count to 4, let the upper belly come out. Now we're just going to gently speed up. So we'll just do a 4 count, and once you feel you've got that control, you can maybe drop to a 2 count. Good. Well done. Let's do a 2 count. Try and keep the low belly just where it is. And then you can speed up to 1. Then you can just start really speeding up. And at this point, you're pumping the diaphragm almost, and it becomes like a breath of fire. Really thinking about massaging the intestines, the fire part of the internal organs. And then keep the lower belly just as still as possible. So keep pumping. And this might seem a bit like a Kapalabhati. Feels a little bit different in that Kapalabhati. You're kind of pulling the low belly in and back, back towards the spine and up. And it's kind of clearing out the emphasis really, the attention really is at the nose, the head. Whereas this is really just thinking about the diaphragm, moving up and down, even though you're pulling belly in when you breathe out. Stop and take a full breath if you need to. So, as I say, the emphasis of where I'm feeling this energy is more here than here in this, rather than the Kapalabhati. And release. Just move around, free your body around whatever way you need to. You've been sitting cross-legged for a while. You want to stretch your legs out. Move around, do whatever you need to do. You can get up and walk about if you want. Yep, that's fine. Okay. And I'm just going to come into just stealing breaths actually. Pull the flesh away and ground down. So if you find it difficult to sit at this right angle without kind of feeling tension in the hips to pull you forward, then you might want to get a block, a rolled up blanket or a towel, or even just roll your mat up and give yourself a raise under the sit bones if required. And then take the feet maybe about hip width. You can let the knees be nice and soft. And then we're just going to inhale and lengthen up through the spine. Scoop the belly in as you come forward. So it doesn't matter if your hands are nowhere near the toes. You could have them on your thighs. You could have your thumb underneath your calf and just push down. I'm going to exhale forward, inhale up. So you're thinking about putting the attention down to the abdominal region as you exhale, massaging the internal organs. You can hold on to your toes and just come up and down like this if you want. Feel a nice free stretch in the back of the legs. Nice to do this after we've been cross-legged. And if you've been sitting in a chair, then you can just come down onto the floor. Moving meditation. Exhale as you come down. Inhale as you come up. come up and lie down. We're going to go on to the Pawanmuktasana. Again, it's not just, let's go over the Pawanmuktasana in exact order. I'm changing things a little bit, making things more accessible and just changing the order. So, first of all, really stretch your spine and get that connection with the spine, with the sacrum, with the hands. And you've got two options. You can either have the legs straight, or you can have, we're going to just be doing one leg at a time. So what we're doing is we're lifting the leg up on the inhale, just to the vertical. Even though you can take your leg over, just keep it vertical and push down into the sacrum and feel the abdominal muscles switch on. If you take it over, then everything switches off. If you keep it vertical, and if you can't get it that far, that's fine. You can bend your knee if you need to. So you've got options here. So it's inhale. If you feel okay with holding the breath, hold the position for just a count of 2 or 3, and then exhale and lower. If you want to, you can have the other leg straight. This makes it a little bit more of a strain. And then if you feel like you're losing the connection of the core, so if your back is arching up off the mat, then you probably need to keep this leg bent. So maybe keep both legs bent and just inhale. And as you come down, this is when it's going to lift. If it is, then just bend the leg. And as you bend it down. So that's your options. Moving with the breath. Same leg up and down. I'm going to do 2 more. And then just bring that leg up. And shake out. Good. Hold on. We're going to swap legs now with the other leg. So again, you can have the legs same. You can have both legs straight. And you can bend the supporting leg. Inhale as you lift the leg. Hold the position, hold the breath if comfortable. Push down into the sacrum, switch on these deep postural muscles. And exhale as you lower the leg. So remember, if you feel like your low back is arching up when you take the leg down, then it needs to be bent. Keep the connection of the low back with the floor. Most important thing in this movement. Breathe out fully, completely, and inhale. Let's do one more. And release. Again, just take the legs up, side to side, roll around, shake out. Do what you need to do in between. Just to release. Now we're going to do a little bit of cycling. Let's just take a stretch first. So hug the knee. And then see if you can get the other leg straight down, point the toes and get a stretch right up the front of the upper thigh, stretching out the hip. And even maybe take this knee side to side. Stretching and then swap, hug. And one the only thing we're allowed to hug. Can't hug each other in this lockdown, but we can hug our knee. And so we're going to do some cycling now. I'm going to alternate legs. So let me just show you what we're going to do. You can start with the knees here, or you can start with the legs straight. I'm going to inhale in position, then we're going to exhale and take the right leg into the knee. Then inhale, push the leg up, push the sacrum down, and lower the leg down. So the same thing goes. If the back arch is up, then you need to just maybe keep the knee bent as it comes back down into position. Yeah? In which case you might just have the legs bent the whole time. Then we're going to swap legs. So it's exhale, pull the knee in, give it a hug, keep the head on the floor. And then inhale. And switch, exhale. Inhale. And then just to change it if you want to, this might be enough, but if you're okay and you've got that core connection, what you can do is change the angle. So exhale, and instead of taking the leg straight up, you can push the leg out at an angle. Gives you a little bit more resistance to the abdominal muscles. So make sure that you're still keeping that connection with the low back. If it's arching up, then just keep the leg coming up. Exhale, other leg. Inhale. And really push strong with that leg. Let's do one more. And then you can extend this by doing two legs at once. If you're struggling, just keep it alternating. And if you feel like you can do more of a challenge safely and comfortably, then just do both legs. Either straight up and lower, or you can go at an angle. Just one more. Bring the knees up. Again, just give them a wee hug. Shake out, move around. What you need to do, take a mini break and just releasing. And then from here, I'm just going to ground down into the sit bones again. Pick the knees up so the thighs are vertical, shins are horizontal. And then from here, imagine you've got pencils sticking out your knees. You want to keep the back nice and flat, and then just make tiny perfect circles. Tiny perfect circles on the ceiling. So it's not about how big the movement is. So what happens? Hand really move. Boy, what can happen if you try and get these circles too big? Then you just end up rolling and lose the connection with the sacrum on the floor. Really over here, that's good boy. But what I want is both sides of the sacrum clamped down at all times. So just the small circles. So when I come over to my right, the left side is really having to push down. And I can feel that right here in this muscle inside that little pelvic bone. And if you keep your shins parallel to the floor, almost like you're stirring a pot with a spoon that you've got held between your feet. So that's maybe 2 perfect circles you're trying to make now. One for drawing the circle on the ceiling and one for stirring the pot. So don't worry how big the circle is. Keep that connection with the sacrum at all times. As soon as you lose that connection with the low back on the mat, you're kind of switching off the core and the whole point of this whole exercise. And then you can circle round in the other direction. So if you relax your legs and let your legs flop down, it's a little bit easier. If that's hard enough, then stay here and then eventually work towards taking the spoon in between the ankles and stirring the pot. Keep moving in a circle. And then relax, release. Just take the leg side to side. Release the sacrum. Come up onto the elbows and just stretch out the spine. So lengthening from the sacrum at the connection point of the mat all the way up diagonally up the spine. Side to side, get a nice stretch. Push Harry. Take the knees closer into the torso if you need to. Take them wider apart from each other if you need to. And then we're just going to come back down. Let's do a little bridge, a nice dynamic up and down, just working the muscles in the back. So keeping the knees bent. So the wider the feet are apart from each other, the easier it is. But try and keep them parallel, thank you. Keep them parallel, keep the knees parallel. Really move, Harry, move. And keep the knees close in, sorry, the feet close into the body. Harry, move your head. Thank you. So the feet are quite close in. So I'm just going to push down into the low back. Take the hands down. Take the shoulders down. Sorry, I just punched you. Down into the mat and down away from the ears and flat, palms facing down. And I'm just going to inhale in position. Exhale, push down into the sacrum, push down into the back of the waist, push down into the feet and feel that float. So it's just a float up. And then come back down. Exhale, lift. Inhale back down. So just maybe a tiny movement to start with. just increasing in intensity with every breath. So that when you're lifting up quite high, you feel a nice stretch in the back of the neck. You can just keep moving here up and down and then take a rest if you need to. Leg, can you move? Okay, please. Ray. Keep moving, keep moving. That's a good one. Stay there. So the other alternative is you can rest, you can keep moving up and down, or you can intensify by lifting and holding and breathing. Don't hold the breath. So just stay here with the hands like this. And then what you can do is you can start taking the weight onto one leg and then the other. And that way you're kind of isolating one side of the back to the other. So if you've got any imbalances where one side's taking too much on and not the other side, then this is a good way of just spotting that, because we're deliberately taking the weight over to one side and then over to the other side. Neutral lower back if you can. And come back to the center, even weight on both sides. Relax the shoulders. And then slowly come down, all the way down. Slowly, slowly scooping the belly in. Low back, back of the waist down on the mat. And just come down. And release. Shake out, stretch out, do whatever you need to do. Stretch out the legs, whatever. And then just take the soles of the feet together and knees out to the side if that's comfortable. Take a mini break and just take a few deep breaths here. Just relaxing completely. So allow the breath to restore back to that natural equilibrium. And then you're ready, just start to move, come back to the center. We're just going to do a bit of rolling on the side to side. So we're going to, this is going to be difficult if you've got dogs hanging about all over you, but let's see how it goes. So we'll just get that connection with them, roll back on the mat and take the knees up, give them a hug. And we're going to roll over onto the side. So I'm just going to go for it and see what happens. Okay, so the knee's not been squashed completely yet. And just rest down here and then we push with this elbow back up, but try and switch on the abdominals. So use the abdominal muscles as far as you can and then over to the other side. So just keep rolling side to side. Now stay there. So when you come down, obviously the elbow's in the way, stop when you go all the way down. So you might want to take that elbow out the way and then move. Make sure your neck isn't feeling any tension. Making shoulders nice and relaxed. If you need to have something underneath your head, roll up a blanket or something, and block. Really pushing down into the low back, into the mid back, to the back of the waist, really connecting with the mat as you roll over, and you feel these deep postural muscles switching on. And then come back. And just give your legs a little stretch out, whatever way you need to. Anything you need to do to shake out, stretch out. Legs out to the side, legs into the centre. And then come back down onto your back. And this time what we're going to do is we're going to lift the knees up. Take the hands down by the sides, about shoulder height, maybe a little bit lower than shoulder height. And we're just going to go over to the side and using the hands, pushing down to help you up, rolling across the sacrum, rolling across the low back, feeling these muscles, these deep postural muscles switching on. Inhale to the centre. Exhale to the side. And then back up. I'm going to do one more little stretch. What time is it? Is everybody okay? Time. Oh, yeah, we've got time for one more. So taking the feet wide on the mat, I'm just going to go side to side like windscreen wipers. So we've got one side in external rotation, one side in internal rotation. We just go side to side. Really feeling that connection with the low back, with the sacrum. Then taking both legs over to your right side. Taking the right leg and lifting the ankle onto the outside of the left sort of knee, thigh, outside of the edge of the leg. And feel a nice stretch in and just hold this position. And while you're here, if you take the leg up, the right leg up, then you've got more of an external rotation here. So just feel that double whammy stretch. Make sure your sacrum isn't complaining. You can look round to your left side, opposite side of the knees. And then come back to the centre and bring the feet down wide on the mat, right to the edge of the mat. Let's go side to side again a few times. And then over to the left, both legs to the left, lift the left leg, ankle over the outside edge of the right leg, and feel that just taking the leg down with the weight, just to stretch. And again, if you want, you can lift this up slightly and get more of an external rotation in the left leg. Not forcing anything, just going with a natural stretch that feels good. And just open up into the stretch. Feel the body releasing, the edge moving, so the edge of the comfort zone just being allowed by the body to move slowly and gently and safely. In through, and then just come back up and move around and just take whatever last movements you feel you need. Anything that you want to shake, stretch, twist, stretch, push, pull. And then when you're ready, you can come down into whatever relaxation pose you want. Get your layers on if you need. You can take mine off, but it's quite cold in this garage. Just take yourself into a nice, easy relaxation position. So either lying down with the legs up the wall or lying down with the legs up on a sofa or a couch like this. Or if you're not able to do that, if you've not got furniture or you don't want to, you can just take the feet to the corners of the mat and roll the feet open. Sorry, baby. Or you can take the feet to the edges of the mat wide and drop the knees in towards each other. So we're not holding the knees up with any kind of tension. Making sure that you're not switching all the tension around the groins. And just stay here. You can put one hand on your belly, one hand on your upper chest. And just release the neck, release the shoulders. Take some deep breaths. Stay here and swallow, relaxing the jaw and the tongue. Feeling the tongue spreading down across the base of the mouth. So just stay lying down. Feel the fluidity and the softness and the ease in the tongue spreading across the base of the mouth. And that fluidity moving down into the bony part in the center of the neck. And that fluidity touching the soft tissue in the neck, the muscles at the sides and the fronts of the neck. And that fluidity moving around to the back of the neck and the muscles in the back of the neck. And just again swallowing and just reconnecting with that fluidity, the softness, the lightness in the tongue and the jaw, and the tongue spreading across the base of the mouth again, just connecting with that fluidity and softness. Feeling that fluidity and softness spreading across the collarbones, down into the shoulders, and all the way down into the upper arms. And the fluidity ripples down into the elbows and the forearms and the wrists and the hands and the fingers. Each finger in turn, connecting with the fluidity, just being immersed in the fluidity. And then connect back up to the collarbones, the fluidity, just engulfing the upper chest, across to the oxters, the underarms, and around the back of the upper chest. And that fluidity wrapping the whole torso with the softness and the ease and the lightness. Just keep wrapping and engulfing the body with this softness, this fluidity. Moving down the center of the torso into the abdominal area, and just being aware that we worked quite hard on the internal organs and also the muscles in the abdominal area. Just making sure that you're breathing fully and deeply into the belly, into the chest, and in fact all the way down into the pelvic basin. Taking that fluidity, taking that lightness down with you, all the way down into the pelvic basin, expanding in every direction. Down into the pelvic floor, releasing any tension. And out to the sides, into the sockets of the hip joints. And the hip joint being a ball and socket, just feel the ball of the hip coming in and up. And just feel the fluidity moving right around every direction, the 360 degrees. And the whole of the ball and socket joint in the hip. And then feel the breath and the fluidity pushing down and back into the sacrum, spreading widthwise across the sacrum and down into the mat. And then just stay here with that fluidity, allowing it to embrace your whole body, your limbs, your head, your face, your eyes, the whole body, just being submerged in this fluidity, this softness and ease. I'm just going to switch off the recording and I'm just going to end the meeting. Thank you for watching, thank you for participating, and stay here for as long as you want. Stay here, basking in this softness, this fluidity, feeling no tension. Stay here for as long as you have, as long as you can, just allowing the body to restore back into the parasympathetic response, aiding the immunity, aiding the digestion, the elimination, any minor repairs that need to be made, any healing that needs to happen, any detoxification that's going on, eliminating any abnormal cells. None of that can happen when you're feeling resistance physically, mentally, or emotionally. None of that can happen when you are in your stress response, your fight-flight response. Please stay here as long as you can. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. Namaste. Please stop the recording.